So we move on to chapter 4, and it's kind of like the last chapter, to be generally honest with you. But I do think it's important to clarify some points, and I suppose other kind of things that people have said over the years, particularly with the pictures behind me. And that is to do with why particularly Sanna Mountain. Why Sanna Mountain? Why not Alexander Cortez? Or why not Holly Combs or Afana Batchik or Catherine Connolly, God forbid? Or some other like world leader, some other woman leader, some other male leader too. And it's not to do with gender. I know a lot of people, and I get into this now and then, a lot of people say, oh, it's to do with gender because she's a woman, etc. It's not that. I do think she's good, regardless if she was a man or a woman. I would still say the same about Sanna Mountain. And it's not that, and again, a lot of people have said this over them sexually attractive to Sanna Mountain. Of course, Sanna Mountain is a good looking woman. Like, there's no, I think anybody that tells you otherwise would be lying. To be generally honest, like generally, if some man said to you, Sanna Mountain's not a good looking woman, objectively, a lot of people would be lying when they say that. So I'm not going to lie to you. She is a good looking woman, but I'm not like sexually attracted to her. If that makes any sense, like that way. Because we're totally different personalities, etc. I never would, what did I aim that high, I suppose, that's what I. But no, I'm happy being single, and so I never want to go that level, if that makes sense. I never intended, that was never even a thought, just to put it that way. But some people have said it over the years and stuff, so I'm just addressing that, what some people have said, but it's not that. Let's face it, because I would say it straight out if it was. And of course she is a good looking woman, there's no doubt about it. But just wanted to address that too. It's not that I'm overly sexualizing those, but I don't want to do that, and I don't think we should over sexualize politicians, etc. And cause just because the only reason I'm bringing it up because people have asked me over the years, it's not that I'm over sexualizing no one. There's no way I would do that to her or any woman. You shouldn't do that to any woman, over sexualize, particularly a politician and stuff. You shouldn't think like that. I know some people do think like that, but you shouldn't think like that. Majority of people don't think like that, but people do, and I suppose if you want to think like that, you can, but I wouldn't think like that. It's not the way I see the world, etc. and different things. But no, I think Sanna Mountain is just an amazing woman. Her story and etc. And of course, her upbringing, etc. We'll talk about it a bit more in the chapter. But particularly, I was always interested, and this goes back into this story, but I've said it before, but I always was interested in Finland. And obviously being there and seeing where Sanna grew up to. I went to Tampere. I went just outside Tampere to where she grew up, Pekala, just outside Tampere. Tampere is a great place too, and her hometown is a very nice place too. All of Finland is a very nice place. But I always was interested in Finland, and the Scandinavian countries, but mainly Finland. I was always interested, particularly here when I was younger. Finland at the time was not the happiest country in the world, but of course it's been for the last few years in a row. But it was always either Denmark, Finland, or Norway, or Iceland, or Sweden. Like, basically it was always the Nordic countries, the Scandinavian countries, whatever you want to call them. That was always the happiest countries in the world, and particularly for Finland, it was the education system, with the free college, free university. Not even that too, no tests, etc. And this is for a long time to have this in Finland, not just recently. And I've always was interested in that, particularly how they treat people, and the welfare society and stuff. I always was interested in that, and seeing that, particularly when I was younger too, public trust and stuff. In the establishment, as you see across the West, that a lot of people don't, particularly in Ireland, the trust is in the toilet a long time ago. But in Finland, it's out until recently. Public trust, it's always been important to keep the public trust, keep trust in the public. And it was always something very important in Finland and stuff, to keep people on the side, working with the government and working with the people. Actually, sorry, the government working with the people, because at the end of the day, that's what democracy is all about. But it was always an interest, even when I was growing up reading about it. And not even that, to the matter of forests, and so I was always interested in a way of the Finnish society, and of course too, about being the happiest country in the world, of course being there. And a lot of people have asked me over the years, like Sanna Mountain said to themselves, they're not the most cheerful people. I would agree with her assessment. I think it's a good assessment that they're not the most cheerful people, they're not the most talkative people, but they do talk. When you get to know them, it's about gaining their trust. It's very important in Finnish society that people trust you, and I think that's the thing with Sanna Mountain too. If she can trust somebody, it's all about trust. That's basically it. Boils down to everything else. It's all about trust. Not so much now. Irish people talk to the fucking wall. Excuse my language, but Irish people would literally talk to the wall if they talk back. Irish people are just a terror when it comes to tourists and stuff like that coming to Ireland. Like in Finland, they're a lot more reserved and quiet, and they like their own personal space. They like nature and stuff like that. And it's nice, nature, and of course, it's a very, very different way of life. And even when I was younger, I recognised that a lot. And that's not even been in the country. I recognised it from just reading books, even when I was younger. Not even reading the books, looking at pictures, and just reading the text. And so, because I didn't have the internet too, I was a bit older, etc. And I probably was better off. I would have been scared probably if I did. But yeah, it worked out well in that case. But yeah, I was always interested in Finland, and Sanna Marin was another unique personality to Finland. And let's put it that way: Finland and Sanna Marin go 1-on-1 at this stage. Like whatever you think of her, if you agree with her, if you disagree with her, if you don't like her, if you do like her, she is uniquely put Finland on the map. Like there's no doubt about this. I think majority of people, if you said Finland to majority of people, they would say probably, oh yeah, Sanna Marin. You remember Sanna Marin and stuff, or something similar to that about the dancing video and stuff like that. Because she has put Finland, regardless of what way you look at it, she has brought a lot of attention to Finland that maybe wasn't given before. I vaguely remember her being elected Prime Minister, etc. And it was on every newspaper in Ireland, nearly. Well, not every newspaper, but off the front page, but it was in every newspaper. It was talked about it non-stop in the media, because this was a young woman at 34 that was the youngest Prime Minister in the world. That basically rose the ranks so quickly, etc., through politics, etc. And so I was always uniquely interested in the Scandinavian countries, particularly Finland. And of course, as I said in the other chapter, I always seen a bit of me in Sanna Marin when I was younger, particularly. I know that sounds a bit weird, but if you looked at the last chapter, you get what I was saying. But yeah, so it was always interesting. I think Sanna Marin is a very unique personality, like really, really unique personality. Because she is very easygoing compared to a lot of politicians. She is very, very easygoing. And very open to people. She's very honest with people, very open. And very, very forthcoming, obviously meeting her too, just speaking of this bit before we go to the next chapter, talk about it. She's very open, like she's not afraid to see somebody or talk to somebody or even hug somebody just to say too. Because I barely even got saying hello to her and I got a hug. So yeah, that was something interesting. I never experienced that with another politician in my life. Usually they would want to get rid of you as quick as possible. But not even that. She's a very unique person, very unique politician. Like never seen a politician all my life or any civil servant literally to look you straight in the eye. Like I mean, literally straight in the eye, and literally like you're the only person in the room, even though there's a crowd in the room. She looks you straight in the eye, and that's a unique thing. Like that really is a unique thing. I don't think people will take me serious by saying that, but she is like very unique in that case. Because I have spoken about maybe in my lifetime maybe 400 or 500 politicians, civil servants and stuff. And all of them are pretty much the same. And all of them particularly doing the same. They just want to get rid of you as quick as possible so they don't have to deal with you. But, it's very different. It's very different. Sanna's very unique. And I have talked to Finnish politicians before. But she's very unique compared to the West. But that was, I suppose, it. And I could see even by not even meeting her and stuff, hearing what she has to say in interviews and stuff, that she's very people-focused. That, and she said it in Dublin too, when she was up at the Pendulum Summit, that everything is about people. And when you really think about it, and I never really thought of it until she said it, that it is true, everything is about people. Whatever we do, it's always about people. It's not about politics, it shouldn't be about money, but it's about people at the end of the day. And she is, right, there's no doubt about it, and it's something that I have always championed, tried to champion anyway, that everything is about people, and it truly is about people. And life and everything is just about people. But yeah, so why Sanna Marin particularly? Why not AOC? Why not somebody else? Why not Nigel Farage or something like that? I know that sounds insane. But yeah, it's not to do with gender. It's not like... of course, Sanna Marin instantaneously bites up the wall a lot more. Sanna Marin, of course. But, I think she was the right person. And of course, I look up to Sanna Marin, I will admit that. But as I say, there's no sexual feelings towards Sanna Marin like that. I don't want to over-sexualise around it, but I'm just saying for people that have asked me over the years, because I never really have answered that, because I did feel it was over-sexualising the woman. I never was about that. I never wanted to be about that. I never wanted to portray her like that or anything like that, or any woman like that, let's put it that way. But it's not that, and I say that straight. I'll be honest, and I am always honest with people, and it's not about that. It isn't that. Because I would tell you straight out if it wasn't. It's not. And as I say, she is a good person. There's no doubt about it. But but yeah. So I think Sanna Marin was just the right person and has the right attitude, and is the right politician, the honest politician, the hard working person. and a good negotiator to people, and a good people person. I think that's what matters more, is the people person. And I do think she was, the best possible politician you could, ever have, an inspiration for, I suppose, look up to, in a way you want to phrase it that way too. And I'm delighted it was that I found noticed that amount. Of course, we would have probably noticed eventually when she was rising through the ranks and stuff. I'm happy that I was able to see that and understand the whole lot of the process by then. How she got there, etc. Because I knew a lot more than, say, for example, the only Joe in 2019, when she first became the Prime Minister. A lot of people heard her for the first time, seen her for the first time. I'd seen her before that, and I knew a bit about her, and didn't know everything, I would say, but I knew a good bit more to say than the average Joe, especially from abroad, etc. A lot of Finnish people would have probably heard of her. She was on the telly a few times and stuff in Finland and Yale and stuff. But yeah. But I think Sanna Marin is just such a unique politician. Like, I don't think we could find another unique politician like Sanna Marin. I generally don't think we could. Big Johnny has like the same values, the same, I suppose, look on life. I suppose it's hard to describe, but it is. But yeah, so that pretty much sums it up. I might have missed a few things about it, but it never was what I said at the beginning. But yeah, I think she was the right. And I'm glad that I did look up to her. And I'm glad I went to met her in Finland too. I'm glad that I did that. And I hope I'll meet her again someday. We talk about the second photo, but I hope I do meet her someday. She's a very unique person. She's a great person. I spent 10 minutes or so with her, and she's a really nice person. Like the best person you could possibly meet. Like, let's put it as a politician. The best, honestly, hands down. And I mean this, like, true from the bottom of my heart. It is literally, I'm still kind of, I don't know how to describe it. I still am a bit I'm still in denial about it. That's what like. It's such a great moment. I don't think I ever can go over the shock. I'm still shocked about it. So, but you can see from my picture behind. I was generally just enthralled. I was just generally lost. Not lost in a good way, but just generally couldn't get the words out. Because I was just literally like, oh my god, like, oh my god, it actually has happened. Wow, I couldn't believe that she was right in front of me. I still could, like, that's what the picture pretty much shows. It just was like absolutely just, I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. For 2 minutes, I just kind of was just gone. I just didn't know at all what to do and stuff. I hope she didn't feel that it was being awkward or being disrespectful and stuff. I'm sure she understood that was just completely gone. For about 2 minutes, that I thought it was dead and reincarnated and stuff. Like, generally, I just couldn't believe it, especially when you meet your inspiration and stuff. I think everybody's the same. I don't think I'm unique in that, but I was pretty much lost for words. Still am lost for words to a certain extent about it, because I'm still just like, I suppose, hyperventilating when I start talking. But like, oh my god, yeah, this happened. Like, like for a few days after, I just couldn't sit still. It was insane. But I talk a bit more about it in the other chapters to come, but it was such an experience, and and I'm glad that I see Sanna Marin is my inspiration. I'm glad of that, and I make no apologies for that, just to say to people, because I do think she is the best person you could ever have as a politician, as a Prime Minister. Of course, she made mistakes. We all do, but I think if we become a better person, that's all that matters, really, in a way too.